All right, guys, we're back for another episode of the Tell No Lies podcast. I am your host, Devin Physique, and Ashley's not here today, but we have a special guest. Today's the first day that I'm sitting alongside another female or another male by myself, and me and you go back quite a ways.
Yes.
So we got the guest Lulu, the female killer.
I want to say all that now, but I like that introduction.
Yeah, I love it. So, I know only so much about you, right? And we talked about this with the podcast. This is your first one, so I'm honored to have you on for the first one. So I kind of just want you to start and tell us a little bit about yourself. Obviously people see you on social media now for what you are, but I want to learn a little bit about you today. So I think let's get started with just kind of your upbringing and how you got to where you are now and where that started.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here.
Of course.
I'm excited. Yeah, so I'm from a small city south of Miami called Florida City. Very small population. It's actually a very dangerous city since like 1990 something. It's always been like Florida's #1 most dangerous city. So there's nothing really much to do down there except play sports, right? That's all we knew growing up. So I was raised by a single mother. Boy, I was actually born in Brooklyn, New York. It's on my birth certificate. So my mom is Dominican descendant. She's from Santiago, Dominican Republic. And my father, I don't know him that well, but he's Jordanian and Colombian. So yeah, growing up with a single mother, living down in Florida City, it was a unique experience. I was always outside, never in the house, because my mother's a preschool teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I get out of school, she was still at work. So I was at home with my older brother, and he was always inside playing video games all the time, and I was like the outdoor kid. So I was always in the parks or in the streets playing football.
Is that brother right there?
No, I have another brother
Okay,
at home.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I have another brother at home.
You know, I was just talking about this too with some friends. Like back in our days, right? People were playing outside, right? I remember when I was younger, like as soon as I got out of school, the first thing I was doing was like, I'm staying outside until the sun comes down.
Right.
So I feel like back in those days, it was pretty common to be outside and do all the things. But I'm sure you could get into some trouble that way too.
Yeah, you know, because kids are curious and you want to, sometimes you got the troublemakers and, we either want to fit in or you're the one starting the trouble because it's, we're, a curious kid. And sometimes you just want to just do some curious stuff. And not all of it's going to have a good reward, So, but yeah, so growing up, I got into football, going through school. I was actually a really good student. I was in Gifted, which is like an acceleration program in elementary. Middle school, I had a rebellion phase. I started, like, my personality started coming out more because I was getting older, being exposed to other kids. And I started having a little rebellion phase. Started getting tattoos at an early age. I got my
When was your first tattoo?
My first tattoo was 8th grade. And it was $30.
8th grade, $30. Do you have it? Can you like pinpoint where it's at?
So it was right here. It was my name, Lulu. It was
classic.
Right. It was in bubble letters, LU. And it's funny because my mother's a wonderful, sweet Caribbean lady from the Dominican Republic. But she gave me a lot of freedom growing up. Like my mom, there's no doubt in my mind, my whole life I was loved by my mother. But she gave me so much freedom, which could have been bad or good, but it was up for me to decide.
Correct.
So I remember when I went up to my mother and I was like, because I had this thing where I would just draw on myself in class with pens, like those the little ink pens, and I'll just scribble all over my arms. And I remember I just went up to her and I was like, Mom, I want a tattoo. There's a flea market and it's $30. She's like, well, I live with it. I said, wait, you really gonna give me the money? She's like, here. So I went with my friend. We went to this flea market in Miami, and his mom signed off on the paper. And I'm a little ass boy just sitting there, tattoo gun on my arm. And I walked out. I go to class. I think that was a weekend. That next week, I go to class. Teacher flipped out. All the students are like, what is wrong with this kid? And I just tattoo after tattoo. I think I entered high school with like half a sleeve on my left arm.
And back then, to have like a sleeve like that, I remember in those days, it was like you maybe were in prison.
Right.
It wasn't common nowadays to have the tattoos that we have.
Especially in school, and I'm 14 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I hit puberty hard.
So once you got that first one, you got addicted.
Yeah, because it was like it became the pain wasn't that bad. So I'm like, oh, if I want more, it's not gonna really hurt me as much. So I just kept going in, but it was kind of tough because since I went into um the ninth grade high school playing football, I would always get tattoos in the off season. So, football season's in the fall,
Hmm.
then the off season is spring and a little bit of summer. So I will always go in. But the thing is, I always look older. So the tattoo artist didn't even know my age when I was getting tattoos in high school. There's a funny story where I remember when I came in to the shop and my senior year of high school, I had my whole neck, hands, sleeve, upper
Damn. So
back,
you were
leg.
you were already pretty covered in high
Yeah,
school,
yes. I was like,
just thugging it out.
people thought I was a substitute teacher. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
had the beard, the tats, everything. I remember I went to go say what's up to my artist when I was graduating high school because I was going to go off to college and had my little tie with the shirt tucked in, going to my ceremony. And I was like, hey, what's going on? He said, hey, what you doing? You graduating? I'm like, yeah, I just graduated school. He said, oh, what college? I'm like, bro, I'm graduating from high school. He said, how old are you? I'm like, bro, I'm 18. He said, oh, I could have went to jail all these years ago. And we laugh about it to this day because he's still my tattoo artist
Oh,
back
he
home.
is.
Yeah, he's still my tattoo artist. We laugh about it
That's
to
hilarious.
this day. We laugh about
Because
it.
back then, they were supposed to have it signed off, but I feel like a lot of tattoo artists were like, "Hey, if he's coming in, he's paying. I'm not going to say anything, right?" So he just never said anything.
The thing is because I got tattoos that when in middle school, when I started getting tattoos by him, he seen I had some already.
So he just already thought
So it was like, oh, he's already in here with tattoos. He must be.
old
And he
enough
has
or whatever.
he has a mustache and chin hair. And I was a little kid,
Yeah.
but with the Middle Eastern and Latino genes, puberty smacked me in the face really hard.
Hmm.
So I'm coming in there 14, I'm looking like I'm 21. At 18, I'm looking like I'm 35.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's like, he see me, he's like, oh, okay, yeah. So what you want? Oh, you want a skull right here? Oh, you want this right there? Okay, come on. And then, I remember by 10th grade, I'm 16, I had 2 sleeves, my whole neck, a leg tat. And I was like,
Now, when you're in school with all these tattoos, obviously I didn't have any tattoos in high school, but was that against the rules in any regulations with the high school, or did they say anything to you for having them?
no, they didn't really mind. It was just obviously it was like Lulu got something going on. This is an interesting fellow right here because this is not common for
Hmm.
a kid his age to be inked up like that. And it wasn't. Now when there was a point in time where I was just too rebellious. I was like being a real knucklehead in high school, and my mother actually took me out of that school and put me into a charter school that was close by. Now that school being strict, they allowed me to go to that school, but I had to wear like this zip up jacket that was like a turtleneck. I had to zip it
So
up
you had
all
to
the
hide
way.
it.
I had to hide it. But then I started coming to my senses a little bit, and the commute to that school was very inconvenient for my mother. So I ended up going back to my home school and just having to get my act together because I was like, hey, I'm about to graduate soon. What am I gonna do when I graduate? And I started taking football more serious and stopped being such a knucklehead.
Now,
And
when
then,
you say knucklehead and your mom gave you all this free range, were you getting yourself into trouble on top of like the tattoos and stuff?
yeah, so I would I got into working out really early. Since I was playing football, I got this obsession with working out. So sometimes I was so into the gym where I would like skip school to go to Planet Fitness
To train.
to train. Or I would skip school and just do some delinquent stuff with my friends because I could do it.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? I would literally go to school, have free breakfast with the chocolate milk, the scrambled egg, the little piece of bread, and then I'll go jump the fence and I'll get on the metro bus. I'll pay the $1.25 and I'll go to the gym and I'll hang out. I'll lift. I'll leave the gym, go hang out with some friends, go to the pool in their apartment complex, just go do my thing. And the whole time I'm supposed to be in class, then I will come back to school and practice. And no one knew that I was doing that stuff. But then they started, I'm only Hispanic kid at the school with all these tattoos. They started catching me on camera, and then I kept getting kicked off the team all the time. So my senior year of high school is when I had like this epiphany. I'm like, damn, I'm about to graduate. I got to get my act together because I can't keep, getting myself into trouble. And, I'm getting a taste of all this already. So I'm like, okay, graduation's around the corner. It's time to tighten up. So I decided to just get focused, dial in, because, I needed film, high school film, so I could go to college, because my grades weren't the best, because I was just scraping by high school. Like, I was a very intelligent individual. I was just shooting myself in the foot by my actions.
Applying yourself.
Yeah. So when I decided to really lock in my senior year, I balled out. I was having the time of my life. I was getting all these tackles. I was racking up a beautiful highlight reel to go to school, but my grades and ACT score didn't match up, which I had to go to a junior college as a second chance to go to a university. And in order for me to keep myself together in the off season, I wrestled in high school as well. So in the fall, I played football. In the spring, I had to shave the beard, and I wrestled in the 220-pound class. And that was a beautiful experience, because it's, in football, it's a team.
Mm-hmm.
In wrestling, it's just you and another guy across the mat, and I always try to wrestle, but the same thing. Whenever I would try to wrestle in the off season, I would just go be a knucklehead, and they would kick me off the team. But when I locked in, I was able to wrestle the whole season and keep myself occupied. The thing was with me, if I stay in school, keep myself occupied, then it kept me out of trouble, which allowed me to still get decent grades, stay more focused, and get ready to go off to college. So from football to wrestling, and then from wrestling season, I walked the stage, got on that bus, and went straight to college.
And where'd you go to college at?
So because of my GPA and ACT scores, I couldn't get recruited from a 4-year university straight out of high school. So a lot of junior colleges. So a junior college, we call them JUCOs. So basically, it's a community college with sports teams, where sometimes you go there, whether out of choice or because of test scores and grades, to take college courses and play at those programs, to get then a second chance to get more highlight film to go to a 4-year university. So I went to a junior college in Southern California called Mount San Jacinto, California, which is in San Jacinto, California.
It's funny because I went to Mount Sac. Do you know where Mount Sac is?
It's
in California too. It's not far.
It's like 35 minutes away.
But it's the same thing, right? Whether you're doing sports or even academics, right? If you didn't have good enough grades and you got out of high school, you would go to a junior college and maybe you do your GE there for 2 years and then you go to a 4-year, right?
Right.
So it's kind of the same thing.
Correct.
Mount Sac was really good with football too, because I remember some of the kids, same thing, fuck around, not have the right grades. You finally took it serious when it was too late, and then you got to go to a junior college and ball out there, and then have that opportunity for these 4 years to see how good you are, and then you go, because then you can extend your eligibility, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and then you can end up staying in college a lot longer because you did the junior college first. I feel like a lot of people go that direction because in high school, right, you can fuck around and then not take it serious, and you have to go that direction. So you ended up going to, what was it again, Mount San Jacinto?
So Mount San Jacinto. So once recruiting was going on in high school, and 4-year university was like, damn, Lulu's off the market because the GPA and the ACT scores, he's not eligible for us to recruit him. That's where all the junior colleges from Kansas and New York and California, because California, they have a whole community college. They have like their own division separate from the rest of the USA. You have like there's like the CCCAA, like the California Community College Athletic Association. It's its own thing, separate from the rest of the country. So they came in, they'll fly in and recruit Miami kids specifically that weren't eligible. And I sat there because, funny story, there's a college, a 4-year program called Mississippi Valley State University. And they had a program for kids with my situation. They're a D1AA school in Mississippi. And I actually visited there. And I was like, I'm going to be miserable here. When I looked around, and they like, oh, Jerry Rice came here. Jerry Rice, Jerry Rice,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
So he's like, they sell Jerry Rice so hard, but I'm looking around the program. I'm like, I'm going to be a little miserable out here if I come here. So I ended up signing because of the pressure, but my gut was like, don't go.
Yeah.
Like I signed on signing day and everything. I was like on the stage and with the principal and my mom and the coach. And
But
I
it didn't
remember
feel right.
it didn't feel right. So like I think 2 weeks later, I called the head coach over there. I'm like, hey, I can't do it, man. I some telling me don't do it. And I ended up, entertaining the junior colleges and learning more. And then that's why I felt my gut was to go to Mount San Jacinto College, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made as a teenager. Like that was one of the best decisions. That going there, I learned so much about football, so much about becoming a man in general, and I mean, I had the best times there. I really did. Like going to California was a very amazing experience for me. I had a linebacker coach who I remember in the summer I was training and I pulled my hamstring and I got so frustrated because I was not used to the West Coast heat. It's so different than the Miami heat. And I remember I tweaked my hamstring during sprints in the summer training and I had blisters on my feet. And I had to sit out and go to the trainer and stuff, and I was getting frustrated. And my situation with I was just like, I want to go home. And I kind of like talked myself out of continuing. So I actually got on a flight and I went home. And the minute I got home, like no lie, I get home and I just sit there and I'm looking at my mom. I'm like, why the hell did I come home? What the hell am I going to do now? I went out there to ball and try to, progress. And I just quit. So I called my coach. I'm like, hey, coach, I'm sorry. Like, I think I made a wrong decision. He said, Lulu, it ain't never too late to come back. It's still in the summer, brother. I mean, I understand your frustration, but I have faith in you. I believe in you. If you come back, I got your back. Don't worry, brother. So he paid for my flight to get back, too. So I was like, damn.
So when you booked that flight home, it was you quit. Like you told him you quit, or did you just book a flight and say I'm gone and didn't say anything?
Yeah, I just booked a flight and say I'm gone, and I told them after the fact because they were like, "Where's Lulu? Where's Lulu?" And I was like, I was just so frustrated because I'd never been injured before either. Too, I was kind of fortunate. Like the only injury I had was my freshman year of high school. I had a high ankle sprain, but I was never really injured. I had like the little ding here and there. So the fact that I'm like, I'm coming in super competitive. I want to start as a freshman, and I'm like, I'm hurt. I actually got on a plane and I went home. And because I called my mom and I exaggerated the whole scenario so she could be like, okay, just come. And I'm like, all right. But when I got there, I regretted it. I'm like, what am I doing? So I called my coach and I told him, he said, just come back. And that's what he told me. I got you. Don't worry, brother. So I went back, rehabbed the thigh, learned the playbook. And by the second game, my freshman year, I started. The first game he had the sophomore start. By the second game, I started, and I started ever since for that program. And my linebacker coach, Coach Parker, big shout out to Coach Parker. He taught me so much about football, got my IQ so good to where I was able to just diagnose plays, read formations, make adjustments. I knew how to line up linemen, how to just play the game on a different level mentally to where then it would let my talent shine even more. My physical abilities with my mental just allowed it to be so much better. And by my sophomore year, I was like All-American, CCAA, first team, All-State, and I had all these accolades behind this wonderful highlight tape I built for myself. And I was getting recruited, but it was like, the thing is, man, in college, you're a young man, and you got to make these tough decisions. When these schools are recruiting you, and I'm out there by myself, you got to make the decision, like, where you're going to spend the next 2 years, 3 years. And you got schools in Pittsburgh and California and Virginia, and all these schools are, calling my phone, sending me the dream. And I remember a lot of schools were giving me great opportunities, but then I started getting in my own head a lot. And I ended up going to a school named North Carolina Central University, which is a Division I AA school. And I actually declined them like 2 or 3 times. So when I ended up going there at the end, it was a little bit of bad blood because they were like Oh, you thought you was too good for us at first, then you waited too long, and here you are.
Mm-hmm.
So the only person that really wanted me there was the head coach. Everyone else on the defensive side had like
Like resentment to you a little bit.
a little bit because they flew me out and I showed interest, but I ended up just waiting another semester. And then I ended up going there because at some point I waited so long because I was trying to entertain so many schools where I was left with nothing but schools that didn't interest me. So then I ended up going there, and the football experience wasn't my favorite. The school experience was pretty well. I had amazing professors, great individuals that I met at the school in general, but the football aspect of it wasn't the best. Unfortunately, I ended up tearing my bicep tendon in practice my second year there, because my first year there, I had to sit out because when I transferred from California, a lot of my credits didn't transfer over. So I had to sit out my first year, and then my second year, I'm ready to ball out and play, right? Out of nowhere, I'm jamming a wide receiver in coverage, and as he pulls away, my arm kind of gets hyperextended and my bicep tendon tears because it was sore from this crazy summer workouts we were having. My bicep was a little tender, and I remember when I was jamming him and I released him, he kind of like, my hand got stuck in his jersey a little bit and it hyperextended. I could just feel it, pop, and I could feel it just roll up my shoulder. I said, "Oh, this ain't normal." I ran off the field mid-play, arm dangling. I'm like, "Oh no, this ain't normal." They're like, "Lulu, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Something wrong. I ain't never felt nothing like this before." And I ended up getting surgery at Duke University. They repaired the tendon. But this happened in fall camp, so I had to sit out the whole season. So that's 2 years I'm not playing, man. So it's really getting to me. I ended up transferring. I found out if I was to transfer to a Division II program, their rules are a little different. They do semesterly. Division I schools do yearly. So in Division I, you have 5 years to play 4 seasons. In Division II, you have 10 semesters to play 4 seasons. So when I calculated the semesters, if I was to transfer to a Division II school, I could get my 2 years back. I still come in, I'll be a little older, but I get my 2 years back. So then I ended up entertaining. I put my name in something called the transfer portal, where athletes go to different schools. And I ended up going to Virginia State University to finish out the rest of my career. And then I ended up graduating with my degree in psychology. I got a bachelor's degree in psychology, which a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
See, a little hidden gem.
Yeah.
Virginia. So you were there. How long were you in Virginia State for?
I came in, I think it was January of 2019. And I graduated May 2021. And I left school because I graduated in May. And then the fall season, I played my last senior year there. So I took extra classes just to play. I already graduated, but I just had to take classes to play that year. And then I left school and came back home in 2022. So my college career was a little longer because every time I transferred, I lost credit. So I did have to take extra classes. So I entered college in 2015, and I left in 2021. Plus COVID came in 2020, so a lot of programs opted out that year. So you kind of had to wait. A lot of schools all their athletes had an extra year to play. And then, I left in 2022.
So when you finished college and you got your degree and you did the football, where were you pivoting from there? Because obviously, what's the next goal is to, get drafted if you're going to go and play NFL, right? But obviously you weren't at that status to be going into the draft, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so in my situation, 2019 was my redshirt junior year, and I was balling. Man. I was just flying around, making plays, and it was the homecoming game. We were playing Bowie State University, and I tore my ACL.
You're just filled with injuries.
Yeah, I tore my ACL, man. I was coming in on a blitz to go get the quarterback, and I was trying to rip through the lineman. And when I passed him, the quarterback was sitting right there, bro. And I see him. I try to plant off my left leg and come in, and I hyperextended my knee, and I could just feel the knee clap, clap. I collapsed. I felt like a lightning bolt just struck me. I just started screaming and screaming. I was like, this ain't normal. I'm like, damn. So get the I get the MRI, the X-ray, the whole shebang, right? Go to the, get all the results. ACL gone. So ACL repair surgery. It was like game 7, so I only had the first 6, 7 games under my belt of film. So I'm like, damn, and when you get hurt, especially knowing that you can't get that time back, you kind of get in your head. So I did get a little depression. I remember I was drinking a lot, and I would drink a lot of alcohol. I remember that. I was very depressed because I was like, I was already kind of being skeptical about my whole college journey because I was in Cali, did very well. North Carolina was a weird situation. Got hurt there, transferred here, and then right when I'm thinking I'm having like the best time, like my comeback year, I tear the knee. So then I'm like, damn, I have 1 more year left. COVID comes, like around March of 2020. I got my knee brace on, trying to get ready for this following year. Now I gotta wait. 2021 season comes. Bro, high ankle sprain, second game of the year. Destroyed my senior year. I couldn't play. A high ankle sprain is disgusting. A defensive lineman tackled the running back into my ankle while I was on a block with the lineman, and my whole leg just caved in, and I could just feel the ligament get strained. So my whole senior year, I was kind of like playing at like 60%. So I really didn't. I had like a super mediocre senior year because I had to overcompensate, and then my shoulder was tweaking, my wrists were bad because you're trying to overcompensate
for the injury.
Yeah. And so my senior year was very mediocre compared to my years in JUCO and my junior year. So I was like, yeah, I don't have the stats, I don't have the film, and I was like, I'm tired of putting my body on the line. Like, I love the fact that I had the opportunity to live out my dream and go to college, right, and play ball and learn, because I grew so much in college. I grew because I was such a small-minded dude from like the little area in Florida City. When I got out and seen California and all these out-of-state kids and the Cali kids, and, I went to Venice Beach and San Diego, and I'm like, whoa, look at this. Because all I knew was my little neighborhood I grew up in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, I'm growing up out like mentally, physically, just learning so much. And I'm like, wow, look at Cali. Oh, look at Venice Beach, the handball courts, the beaches. Oh, that's Muscle Beach over there. Going to San Diego, those beaches. Going to North Carolina. Because the school I went to is right by the capital, Raleigh. So I'm looking at the city of Raleigh. I'm like, oh, look at North Carolina. Oh, it's so country. Oh, they like all this. I'm going to Virginia, right by Richmond. So I'm in a city called Petersburg. It's very country looking, very janky a little bit. Then you go to Richmond, it's a little bit more put together. But going just visiting everywhere in general, I learned. I was like, wow, I'm growing. Plus, young man by yourself, in an apartment, you're paying a little rent. Because some people live in dorm rooms. I was living in an apartment. Mm-hmm. So, I paid my little rent because I was on scholarship. I would get financial aid money and I have my little scholarship money. And I would budget that, to feed myself. I go to the grocery store, shop very smart, and then, pay my rent and take care of myself. Bought me a little car, $1,000 on offer up, broke down the next day, but I had my little Impala on me, and it was a wonderful experience overall because I got to grow so much, and the disciplines and the experiences you have to learn in school, especially as a student athlete. It was very it's tough because a lot of guys, man, I seen so many people like me in the beginning when I quit. From that day on, I just stuck through it. But so many guys quit. They quit, and their moms were paying, their parents were paying for their school, or they'll try to be a walk-on, or they're on scholarship, but mentally they couldn't hang. And a lot of them will come to me because they're like, Lulu looks obsessed. He's obsessed. He's studying film with the coaches. He's always in the weight room. He's, he got it going on. So they'll come to me with their problems. And I played like every school I went to, I was like the big brother to someone. because I was always the leader. I was the middle linebacker. I was always the captain of the defense. I took on all the responsibility. I called the plays, the coverages. I lined everyone up. So I was like, if anything went wrong,
It's on you.
it's on me. So with that pressure from all my years of playing ball, I was always the captain of every team, always the guy that people had to depend on. You know, I always had that pressure where like, I got you. I got you. Off the field and on the field and off the field, I was like, I got you. So when people came to me with their problems, I'm like, what's wrong? Oh, they're telling me like the class or, you know, their girl back home and this or, you know, the coach don't like me. And I was like, you know, I'll be the guy that took the time out my day to sit down, listen to them and help them get it through because I knew what it was like when I came in as a freshman in that summer and I kind of got in my own head. I'm like, never again will I ever talk myself out of doing something. That was my moment when I had that epiphany when I came back home. Never again will I doubt myself because I worked so hard to get there just for me to go home. And that was my moment where I was like, never again I'll doubt myself. Never. And from that day on, everything I set out to do, I put all my effort in and I get it done.
Now, once you graduated and you obviously knew you're injury prone, right? I feel like there's a lot of people that fall victim to that.
Right.
You know, where were you pivoting from there where you say, okay, what's my next move, right? You already graduated. You know, football is not taking you any farther than college. So what was that next move for you?
So this is where things get a little rocky for me, right? So when I graduated school and I'm done, I had my boy Draco. It was just me and my dog. I had a dog in my senior year. I put him in the car, and we just, you know, we go for that. I think it was like 13 hours to get from Virginia to Miami. And I get back, and I'm back at mom's house. I'm like 24, I believe. And I'm just sitting there like, well, I'm home now. Got my degree. College is done. You know, I'm back in the old same little house I grew up in, back in the hood. I'm like, all right, well, time to get a job with my degree. So I go in on Indeed.com. I go on trying to find social worker jobs because, you know, that's a textbook thing to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get a degree and you go get a job in your field. That's a textbook thing to do. That's all I knew. Because I was still learning, right? Because all I knew was I'm a football player. I go to class. I go to the gym. You know, I watch film. I lift weights. All I knew, I play video games in my downtime because, you know, that's all I knew. Because when you're in college, you kind of live in la la land. Right? You're not really exposed to that unless you got a little job on the side in the off season. So I'm applying for all these jobs. I'm going to these schools, you know, shirt all buttoned up with a tie tucked in, trying to look as presentable as I can, and just couldn't get hired. So I was like, "What's going on? I got a degree. What you mean? I'm not. What's the point of the degree for if I can't get hired?"
And what was the reason why you weren't getting hired?
They never told me. I was just waiting on a call back, never got the call back, or the spot's been filled, or we decided to go a different way. And then I started lowering my standards. I said, well, okay, well, listen here. At this point, I just need to pay some money and help my mom because I'm back at mommy's house.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, okay, let me go apply at Papa John's, Walmart, Aldi's.
Which is wild, right? You go to school to get a degree and you're telling me that you're applying places that don't even qualify for any type of degree. It's just a basic shit.
Correct. And I'm like, I'm going in, doing the application online, coming in, say, hey, I did the application. If you're gonna, they looking at me like, okay, all right, we'll give you a call later. So I remember it was like maybe 4 months. I'm living with my mom. I'm going through the worst identity crisis ever, bro. I'm so frustrated. I don't know what I'm doing, right? It's me, my dog. I'm back at my mom's house. I'm a grown-ass man now. Can't get no job. So I remember by the second month I was there, I downloaded the DoorDash app. And I was like, okay, let me do this to get something until I could get me a steady job. So I ended up just DoorDashing and still applying every day I would apply for something. But I was doing nothing but DoorDashing for 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day. Excuse me. 8 hours a day, 10 hours a day, just door dashing, and couldn't get no job. I'm just door dashing. I'm like, all the money's going to gas and maintenance on the car. I'm making enough to like buy me some food. Cause I didn't want my mom putting all her efforts and money into maintaining me. I'm a grown ass man. And I'm like, I gotta do something else. I don't know how else to get money. I don't know anything else but football. And I'm doing like $3 Little Caesar orders, McDonald's orders, Burger King orders. And a part of me, I felt ashamed in a way. Now that I look back at it, because I'm like, when you go off to college in your area, they everyone like respects you and they look up to you. And then I come back and like, oh, Lulu. But then here I am delivering you your Burger King, Whopper, McDonald's, whatever order you ordered. I'm like knocking on your door, like, Lulu, what up, boy? What you doing here?
You were like seeing people you knew.
Yeah.
Which is probably embarrassing for you too at the same time.
It was very humbling because it was like, I'm like, this doesn't feel right, but I got to do what you got to do. The thing about me, I never really had any ego. I never been that kind of guy, like an egotistical guy or like a guy with too much pride. I always been that kind of guy that like, I got to do what I got to do. But when I go home at night, it was just me and my thoughts. I was a little, not ashamed, but I was just like, damn, is this it? Like, I don't know what else to do. Like, I'm frustrated. I'm over here DoorDashing food to people I grew up with, or like people that, my coach, or like somebody I went to high school with. And I did that for a while, all the way up to the summer of 2022. I remember I went to my mother and I'm like, Mom, I don't know what I'm doing. I've been here almost half the year, and I'm just DoorDashing, making ends meet. I don't know what to do. I've been applying to all these places. Why can't I get a job? I'm frustrated, Mom. And I'll never forget this day. It resonates. It's scary. It gives me goosebumps just like talking about it. She was like, honey, listen, all your life, you've always been a star some way, somehow. And I was going to cut her off because, I'm thinking she's just going to tell me like motherly stuff, and I'm like, Ma, stop. I'm not trying to hear that right now. I'm trying to talk about getting a job. She said, no. Let me finish. I'm like, okay, go. Enlighten me, right? And she's like, you've always been a star, You always did your own thing. I gave you a lot of freedom growing up, whether you did good with it or bad with it. Like, look at what you accomplished. You left at 18 years old with just a book bag and $20 to Cali. And you come back, because I'm the first person in my whole family to get a college degree. I'm the only athlete in my family. No one plays sports but me.
I was going to ask you too, growing up in that neighborhood or that area, was it very common for people to kind of just stay there and never really make anything of themselves?
Very common. Yeah. Because in my area, it's very sports oriented. So a lot of guys, like a lot of people I went to school with, or guys that went to different like rival high schools, they end up going to the league and they do very well and they take care of their families. They're like hood superstars, right? Mm-hmm. So like people we idolize them, like, oh, he made it. But that's all we were really known for, is making it through sports. It's not that common for anything else. So a lot of guys that didn't make it through sports, you just hang around. I'd be at a red light and see my old, somebody I went to high school with, riding on a bicycle with a Black Camaro in his mouth, just one hand, and I'm like, oh, something ain't right with that boy, and I'm like.
So if they made it out, it's because of sports.
Yeah, that's about it. Like 90%. If you're from down south, it's sports. Like there ain't nothing else, because it's like I'm not in the beautiful side of Brickell, Midtown, downtown. It's all, hey, Miami. No, you come all the way down that turnpike. It's a whole different side of Miami, and the rules are different. The culture is different. The priorities are different. Everything is different. There's some down south boys, and that's the area I grew up in. It's a very humbling area. It's a whole different mindset. So people are more grateful, people are more humble, and it's just a whole different world down there. So if you didn't make it through sports, you kind of never escape.
So when your mom's telling you this and it, enlighten you, did that give you like an epiphany in your head of like a direction you wanted to go after that conversation?
Yeah, so going back to that, she was like, "Listen, son, you're a star. You always been the leader of every school you've been to. I never, ever, ever witnessed you follow any crew, any group of people. You always done your own thing. You always been a pioneer. You always just did you. And whether it was, whether it raised my blood pressure or not, you did what you wanted to do." And she's like, "You are very disciplined. You know how impressive it is that you went to school and went to 3 different institutions, passed those classes, played football through those injuries, got your degree, and finished. Like you went in and you finished. You finished." So she was like, "You are a star. You're meant for something big. You're gonna do something big, but it's gonna be something you're gonna have to be open minded to, and you're not gonna expect it." So she said, "Starting today, I want you to start thinking bigger." She said, "I want you to start thinking bigger." Excuse me, hold on.
Take that, Sib. Take that swig. Dealing with the braces.
Yeah, man, these braces.
They already
man.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You're doing a good job, though.
I'm trying. These braces are annoying because I have an expander on the top of my mouth, so it kind of messes with how I swallow. But yeah, so my mom was like, "Think bigger." I think I think you're thinking a little too small. I think you're underestimating what you can do, who you can be. So I was like, man, that shit resonated with me that day, man. I ain't gonna lie. I could not sleep that day. Because usually I'll DoorDash and then I come home and I'll play the game. I'll play the game with my brother online. We play like Apex Legends or Call of Duty. Some game where I could talk to him on the mic and be like, "Hey, behind you," we playing the game. That's how I used to kill my downtime at a few years ago. But that night I didn't want to play. I didn't want to eat. I was just staring at the ceiling, laying down like, well, we're halfway through the year. I wonder what was gonna happen. Out of nowhere, right? Maybe like a week or two after that conversation I had with my mother, I call my brother, the one that's over there, and I'm like, "Hey man, how's everything?" He's like, "Man, working, yeah." I'm like, "Listen, man, I'm struggling. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm here, just me and my dog. I'm at mom's house. It's hard for me to get a job. How's everything in Vegas? Can I come work with you in landscaping or do something?" And he's like, "Well, I used to do armed security, and I have some connections for you. I could probably get you a job, make a 30 an hour, And I'm like, "I'll take it."
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing $3 orders. And, I can't really do anything like that. So I'm like, okay. So I pack up the car. No, I took a little bit of money for my DoorDash, did like a tune-up, because I want to make sure I'm going to make it there, right? Because that ain't no little drive.
Mm-hmm.
36-hour drive. I'm like, hold on now. Mechanic, is my car good to make that drive? They're like, yeah. So they did a couple of tunes. I paid them. Packed up the car. And 36 hours to Vegas. But here's where everything changed for me. I was doing no social media. Nothing, right? I had a couple thousand, like maybe like 8,000 followers or something from high school and college. People just following you or something. Maybe you post a picture.
Yeah, it was more like a personal thing.
Yeah, it's nothing. I wasn't doing anything. I didn't use IG or I wasn't even on TikTok. And I remember while I was driving, I stopped in Mobile, Alabama. I never forget, this day is the day that changed my life. I'm in Alabama at a Motel 6 or La Quinta, whatever. It was one of those pet-friendly motels. At this time, I had 2 dogs, Draco and Diesel, because I got Diesel in March of 2022. I drove up to Virginia to grab him real quick. He's my dog's half-brother, same mom, different dad. And I'm putting out the cages. I put them in the cage, go to bed. I grab my phone. I'm looking at my DMs, and I never do this. Devin, I never do this. I don't use IG, so I got no reason to look through my hidden requests. But something told me, grab my phone, go through it, go through IG real quick. I go through my hidden requests, I'm looking, and I see like a logo, and it looked very professional. I'll click on it, and it's a clothing brand. and it's the Gerardo collection, which I'm friends with him now, Gerardo Gabriel. And he's like, "Hey, brother, I like your look. Would you be interested in making modeling for my clothing brand? I'll pay you $100 a week, 4 weeks, 400 a month, and I give you a code. You can order this much." And I'm like looking at the message. I'm like, hell no. I'm not no model.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I look like modeling or I hate the camera. I'm like, I hated those college interviews or people want to take pictures or anything. I'm like, I hate hey, Lulu, come get in the picture. I'm like, nah, I'm going to stay over here. But then I thought about it, and I just stared at it. Bro, I stared at that message for a good 5-10 minutes. And out of nowhere, the conversation my mother had with me kind of like popped in my mind. And I'm like, I ain't never get nothing like this before. So I was like, sure. I'm on the road right now to Vegas. So when I get to Vegas, can you send me the code? I'll find a photographer out there. I give it a try. This is not what I do, but I'll try. Right? He's like, oh, great, man. Sounds good. All right, let's do it. So I get to Vegas. I make it to Vegas. I stopped like twice or two or three times. I had the dog, so I'll make sure they were rested and using the bathroom. So it took me a little longer to get to Vegas. So I get to Vegas around May or June of 2022. And I call him. We talk on the phone for a little bit. I get the code. I get the clothes, right? And I found a photographer, Jamaican dude, originally from Miami. His name is Marquest. We still talk to this day. And I'm like, hey, man, I noticed you only shoot a lot of women. But because when I go to his page, he shoots a lot of women. I'm like, your camera quality looks amazing, but I know you shoot a lot of women. Listen, I got this going on. Can I book a shoot? First photo shoot. I don't do nothing like this, man. I'm just trying to do something new. And, he gave me a chance. He's like, yeah, I got you, bro. I'll give you a discount, whatever. First time shoot, discount, whatever. And I remember I go to the shoot. I bring the clothes with me, and I start shooting with him. I'm like, listen, bro, before we shoot, I never did this before, man. So can you kind of coach me a little bit? Tell me my good side, I don't know what to do. He's like, I got you. So he starts taking the pictures, and this is when Reels started popping off. I didn't understand nothing. I was so ignorant with the social media stuff. But I think this was when Reels started popping off. She's like, hey, I'm going to do some videos. I'm like, what am I supposed to do in a video? I thought he wanted pictures, right? He said, no, Instagram is doing Reels because TikTok is doing these videos, and Instagram is trying to compete with TikTok. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me what to do. And he just starts flipping the phone and hitting these angles, trying to get these things. I'm in like rubbing my hands and trying to be all like, okay, Rico Suave. And the shoot is done, right? We wrap it up. He does the edits. He posts it on his page, and he sends me the edits. The posts do so good. Thousands of likes. The Reels get a lot of views. I'm getting these followers out of nowhere. People calling his phone like, who's this guy? Who is this guy? Who is this? And so he calls my phone. I'm at Walmart with my brother buying protein powder, and I'm working out at the EOS and stuff. So I'm at Walmart buying food and protein and trying to get some groceries. He called me in Walmart. He's like, bro. I'm like, what happened? Did something go wrong? He said, bro, I've never shot a male model or male individual and got my phone blowed up like this ever. And I've been doing this for a long time. In my head, I'm like, but I'm not all that though, because I'm like, I'm just a guy. And it's my first time. And at that time, I was still like a heavier set dude. I'm like maybe 230 because I was fresh out of football, right? He said, bro, I got to be a manager. I got to do this. We got to shoot again. We got to do all these things. So I think we did one more shoot. And then I was like, wait, am I good at this? Is this something I could do? Is this what my mom was referring to? I see, because you go on social media, you see like people doing content and pictures and models. I'm like, is this something I could potentially do? Because I'm making money off of it. But how can I expand from this? So then me and my brother had a conversation like, hey, listen, Mike, if I'm doing this, I could probably do this back home, and I'm more connected back home. I never had the thought I could do this. So I'm like, I'm more connected back home. I know way more people. I could do this at home. And I know friends that are videographers and photographers. I know there's more. I know the Miami area well. I could go to like pretty little areas like Brickell, Wynwood, whatever, use the background and, just try to wing it. And he's like, all right, let's go. So another 36-hour drive back. But I'm more motivated now because I'm like, all right, I'm locked in. All right, let me give this all I have. So I ended up finding a new photographer and videographer in Miami, and I still work with him to this day. So we're going on almost like over 3 years working together. His name is Louis. Shout out to Louis. Great videographer. He's so sick now. I found him through some Instagram searches. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm looking for a videographer. I live all the way at the bottom. If you want to, try to link up. He lived in West Palm, I think. So we used to just grind. I used to wake up 4, 5, 6 a.m. to beat the traffic and have nobody outside. I used to bring like a bunch of random outfits and Gerardo's clothes, and I used to shoot reels because the guy told me reels was popping. Once I started scrolling through Instagram and seeing what reels are and how people are doing them, I try to just do my own thing because I had no guidance. I had nobody showing me. I was like, okay, let me just wing it, right? And let's create something. And we ended up just shooting all these reels with Gerardo's clothes and clothes out of my closet because I'm like, I only have so many clothes from Gerardo. Let me just wear my whatever I have in the closet, H&M, Guess, put it together, make it look decent, and we'll go shoot. And the videos were popping off, thousands of views. I'm getting followers. I don't know what it meant at the moment. I'm just seeing numbers go up.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's
because
working.
at this time you're not generating any income.
No.
You're building your image.
Right.
Now, obviously how we came into play, right? You had the mentorship, and I remember when you joined my mentorship, you were foreign to so many things. I think your girl at the time was influencing you a lot to get on that program, right?
Right.
So when you finished your program with me and we were doing that, where did you feel stumped that you were still in that limbo? Was it because you weren't 100% like knowledgeable on what social media could potentially bring for you?
Yeah. So going back to how we met, I remember I had a girlfriend at the time, my senior year of college, and we were together for almost a year when I was in Virginia. And in the off season, I was a personal trainer. But I didn't understand algorithms, right? But I remember when I was trying to promote my personal training programs or my services on Facebook or Instagram, a bunch of like those online coaching videos will pop up as ads or as reels on my stuff. So I was like, what? It's like, are they watching me? How do they know this is what I'm doing? Because I'm still learning algorithms and stuff. I didn't know how it worked. And then that's where, because I was following you for a minute because you've been popping for a hot minute. So I was like, I remember your bio was like, DM me for mentorship. And I noticed you was like getting results, coaching guys online. And I was like, okay, well, this guy looks like he knows what he's doing. So at the time, I showed my girl at the time, I'm like, hey, look at this guy. He has his mentorship. I DM'd him. Me and you having this conversation. She's like, do it. Go for it. Try it. You might learn something. He looks like he knows what he's doing. Try it. So I had a little money saved up because I was a security guard. I used to be a bouncer in nightclubs in Richmond, Virginia in the off season. So I got paid cash. But I also had a little extra money for my financial aid and my scholarship I used to put to the side. So I budgeted that money, and that's where I was able to pay for the mentorship. But I didn't know I was just so focused on using it for that. But once I didn't want to really do that when I came home. But the principles and the techniques you taught as far as consistency and posting schedules, and you teaching me how to look at the analytics so I can learn, okay, my audience is this. These are the good times to post or to post a picture or reels. You should write people like this, or You were like giving me the outlayer and wanting the consistency. You were always emphasizing consistency. So I remember those conversations me and you had while I was doing what I was doing with Louis when I was
And
doing the
because when
fashion
we were
reels.
when you were working with me, reels weren't around.
Mm-mm.
And that's the send off for you, right? And
Right.
you know what resonated me with when you're talking about your mom is when she's telling you these things. The first thing I thought of was you were always a leader, which tells you you shouldn't work for anyone. You should be the one that's working for yourself, right? That's what I got from what your mom was saying. Like you were always coaching everyone else, so it doesn't even make sense for you to go and work for someone else. It made sense for you to be your own boss. And get yourself where you're at. And then, finding that loophole. That's the big thing with social media, right? When you're confused and you don't know where you want to go, getting on that platform, it's kind of scary at first, because you don't know exactly what you're doing. But one of the things you told me too just the other day was you taking bits and pieces of every single person that has come your way and applying it to yourself. And all it took is one opportunity with somebody. Like I said, you got the clothes and you had some guy that shot you and you had a couple viral videos and then it sparked for you. Then the confidence builds, right?
Right.
And then you start to say, okay, I'm onto something.
Right.
And so I can only assume because I was in a very similar position. I got to a place where I finished college I just quit college, but I got to a place where I'm like, okay, what's next? Like, where the fuck am I going to go? And I picked it up the same way. I had a passion for fitness and I was dedicated to the fact that I'm going to make something of this. And so when you got that first thing, it was like we talked about, like fitness was your first outlet, but doesn't mean that's the destination. You knew that was something you liked, but now you're realizing, oh, this modeling thing is doing something for me. I need to keep fucking leaning into this.
Right. Because I'm like, fitness, I've always been obsessed with working out to this day. I'm always training, I'm always working out. But the modeling and shooting content with clothes and the fashion stuff was the push that grew my confidence in that aspect and also excelled me in my social media journey. And that brings me back to my mother again when she was like, keep your mind open to something you never think you would do. And I'm like, this is what she was talking about because I didn't know. And, it's funny because all my years playing college ball, my teammates used to make jokes. Pretty boy, Mr. Pretty Boy Lulu, Mr. Get all the girls and all this with your curly hair and you got little light skin with the little beard. And, they making jokes. And I never forget I had a homeboy named Chauncey back in North Carolina. He was like, hey, you know what, man? Lulu, boy, I know after football, you're going to be a little model. You're going to be on like a magazine and stuff.
And it seems like you were so against that, right? Like the modeling thing, like that's some gay shit, right? Like to be a model.
Yeah, and I was just, it's not about that. It was just more like I didn't know anything about it. And I'm like, hey, man, like, because growing up where I grew up, man, we ain't got no models
you
out
ain't
there.
no
We got football players and we out there fighting and it's different out there. So I'm like, it's like nitty gritty, it's nitty gritty part of Miami. So we wasn't known. I don't know any models and stuff. All you see on all those little commercials on TV, L'Oreal, Neutrogena, or little Abercrombie and Fitch dude. So I was like, well, I mean, I felt like everyone kept speaking it into existence for me, but I was so small-minded I couldn't even see that. Maybe that could be a stepping stone into my brand building.
Now, remember when we saw each other for the first time physically, which was in Vegas, and it was my birthday, right? You were there. So that timeline, was that right when was that when you were meeting your brother for the first time before all this, or was that in conjunction when things were starting to go for you?
No, I think when we linked up for your birthday party, I did the photo shoot first because what actually happened was I was with my brother and I just put some random outfit. He took me to like this Prime Outlet mall here in Vegas and we took a picture. And we talked about it earlier yesterday. He took a picture of me at the outlet mall and it got a bunch of likes out of nowhere. And it was like a couple days before I did the photo shoot. So he was like, and I wasn't used to getting likes. So I was like, that's a big number. That looks like a good little number. It was maybe like 4,000. And I usually get like 150 because I'm just posting football photos or something. So I'm like,
I'm on to something.
I'm like, okay, it's just me smiling on the bench with some shorts on, right? And I think we hung out at Tao, and then I did the photo shoot. And then once he did reels, and I seen how I could jump numbers. Whenever I wasn't shooting with him, those extra weeks I was in Vegas, my brother used to record me, and we used to try to mimic what I did in
With the other guy.
with the other guy with the iPhone. So we was trying to mimic it and work the angles and try to get some decent reels and find a sound to put behind the video. And they were doing well, and I'm seeing the numbers grow up week by week. 8K, 10K, 20K, 30K, 40, 50, 60. I'm like, And then I had going to Miami, shooting with Louis. Those videos were doing so good. And I just came out of nowhere because I'm just a guy that just started posting. And the videos were just hitting. And I was getting 10,000, 20,000. You know, one of my reels, the most viral reel I had that kind of got me more notoriety and more like, okay, this guy got a unique look, was a video I did walking out the beach.
Yeah, that's the one I told you about.
Yeah, walking out the water.
Walking out that water.
Yeah, I'm walking out the water, and I smiled at the camera like, yeah, this feel good, boy. And that video did like 5-point-something million views. I want to say like at the time, I got like 120,000 followers in a month off that one reel.
So as you're building this, right, and now you're realizing, okay, this modeling thing is, you know, you got a unique look. You're tatted up, you got the braids, you just very distinctive look about you. So now you're pivoting into, okay, I didn't think I was going to be a model, right? But now I'm a model, and now I'm getting this traction, and I'm getting all this notoriety and stuff. Where was that next move of you saying, okay, I'm gonna make something of this, and I'm gonna start making this a business?
So out of nowhere, as I continue to post, and everything, here's the thing with me, right? Everything happened so quick because I came back home in July. We started doing content with Louis in August. I was so consistent. I was shooting with Louis twice a week, and we would shoot for hours, and he would make so many edits that I could post 1 or 2 videos every day. So if those videos were hitting, the traction, the followers, the likes, the notoriety came so quick. I was able to get the attention of Fashion Nova, and it's crazy. My birthday was when I signed the contract with Nova, and I worked with them for 2 years. So when I started doing content with brands, it gave my content purpose. So it kind of made me go harder because now I'm not winging it or doing this Gerardo collection. I'm doing a brand because I wasn't even into Fashion Nova, and I already knew what it was because the marketing, you're bound to see it somewhere on a YouTube ad, Instagram story. Music artists mention the brand in their songs. So I'm like, oh, that's Fashion Nova. So then I started doing content for them, and they're using my pictures in their website. Reposting my reels. I'm on their page for Nova Men. And I'm like, damn. So now I'm getting the experience of working with a brand, you know, dealing with a contract and the deliverables, and okay, I want this many reels, this many pictures, this many stories, this many this, and this is your pay, and you'll get paid like this. And so I'm dealing with contracts now. I'm dealing with deliverables. So it's kind of like pressure. So I'm like, ooh, I got some pressure on me. Y'all want this by this, say less. So I'm like, okay, Louis, let's knock them out, man. Let's go. And I was doing good, so I'm getting growth, experience. The more I shoot, the better I get because I'm learning my angles. Mm-hmm. I get more confidence behind the camera. I'm learning how to style different clothing because Gerardo collection clothing was very like dressy, very dressy. Where his collection was mainly it was like dressier clothes with guys with bills that go to the gym that struggle to find nice slacks or nice dress shirts.
Almost kind of like that father-sons.
Very similar. Extremely similar to father-son's brand. And with Nova, they wanted me to be a little diverse. They got so much diversity on the site. Mm-hmm. They have streetwear, they got suits, they got swimwear. Everything you can imagine is on Nova. The most basic stuff. They got gym clothes now, I think. So I'm like, okay, well, let me see how I could style it up. I could put a graphic tee with some camos. I could do a suit. I could do a tank top with shorts. I could do a button up, you know. And I'm learning that, damn, I could wear a lot of stuff and pull it off. I'm surprising myself. So as I'm growing, now I'm getting micro brands, other brands that are a little smaller than Nova, like UK, Australia. And it doesn't have to be long term. It was like, hey, how much for this? How much for this? And I didn't know anything about branding, and I'm fairly new. So I was like, give me $100. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it for $100. You know,
Mhm.
I get a free shirt and some shorts, and you want a reel, I'll do it for $100. You know, in my head, I'm like, $100, I could buy some groceries. I can
Yeah.
eat good. You know, it's $100.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm learning everything step by step, just winging it with Louis. So we're learning together. And it kind of gave him the edge too, because he's now doing content for brands. We was just doing it to do it, or for Gerardo. Now we're doing it with other brands. And it's like, whoa, okay, we're onto something. We're doing something right. And we even had other creators contacting us about hey man, where you get this from? Or hey, what camera do you use? Or hey, where do you do this? Or getting advice from me, where I'm just the guy doing my own thing. I'm just doing my thing, man.
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing. I'm like, I love fitness, but this is what's working, and I'm low key good at it. So let's just use this, and I'm gonna use fitness to leverage the fashion. So then I started to start to trim down my size to kind of improve the aesthetic, because I was still a stockier dude doing this. So I was using fitness as leverage to say, okay, because there's always room for improvement in anything you do in life. So I was using fitness to like, okay, diet, exercise. Let me lean down and get more lean, so I could but keep the size, because I was still strong and muscular. How can I lean down the right way so that I could look more aesthetic and look better in clothing and improve the product? And then I started doing that, and as time went, you know, I guess we just started pushing out better product, and as far as content, and working with more brands, to where now it's like, I don't know it all. Like, I'm still learning to this day, but I'm way more ahead now than I was when I started.
Yeah, and your progression's been, a big, big progression. I don't even think I recognized you the first time I saw you after, because your look changed a lot. From when I mentored you to then, you slimmed down a lot, and your change looked a lot different.
Yeah, right now I'm like, the last time you seen me, I lost 65 pounds, man.
Yeah,
I'm about 175 right now.
like I can't even like 240. I'm like trying to repicture what that looks like.
Yeah, I was 240. My beard was different. I have more cover up tats now too. I covered up a lot of the stuff I got in high school that was like a little janky on me. I lost 65 pounds. Because when I seen you, I was like at least 230. And so, yeah, 175, and I feel better. I have, for my ACL surgery, I used to get my knees to get swollen a lot. I get less back pain now. My facial structure changed. I trimmed the beard down. More clean look, and, I'm taking it serious. I like anything that I really want and I set out to do, I got to put all my effort in. So I'm like, okay, well, if I want to get into the fitness industry at all, or the modeling or content creation in general, I want to look the best, but not only for that, for myself.
Correct.
After football was done, I was like, I don't need to be 235, benching 430, squatting 600, power cleaning all this weight, shoulder pressing all these. For what?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think fitness gives you structure, right? And it gives you a routine and all those other things that make you flourish and all the other stuff, right? Eating clean, the discipline that comes with that. We talked about it, right? Someone can look at you and tell a lot about you because of your discipline, because of your physique, right?
Right.
So I think that's a big factor with that too. And that's why I love fitness so much too, because it's like the staple piece to so many opportunities outside of it, because of the routine and the structure it builds for you.
It does, and it's I realized as my audience was growing and then people got more involved with my journey, I didn't realize how many people I actually inspired, because people followed me from the jump. Like a lot of people that knew how I looked when I first started, and they see me now, when you scroll all the way to the bottom of my page, or if you remember how I looked back then, and they see me now, like, damn, Lulu really dialed in, and he made it happen. Like, some people I'm unrecognizable compared to what I was. I was like two different people. And I was like diet, exercise, routine, discipline, like you said, having the discipline to eat the right foods or make the right substitutions, staying in that deficit long enough and not give up, or saying, not thinking you can't do it. Going to the gym, training to keep some muscle mass so you can look aesthetic. You lose all the weight, but no muscle, you're going to look a little weird. You're going to have that weird look to you. You don't have no athletic look. So I want it to be, okay, I want an athletic look, lean, abs, veins, chiseled, like more leaner in the face, a jawline, cheekbones. improve the product and fitness and the discipline. And I think what really helped me in my social media journey was my athletic background, waking up, going to school, 5 a.m., getting up, training on an empty stomach, squatting 400 pounds, 500 pounds, training in the snow, pushing a sled at 6 in the morning. Some practices we had at 5:30, 6 in the morning on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We smacking each other, 30 degrees, 20 degrees, 10 degrees outside in Virginia. Then you got to go to class. Then you got to feed yourself, make sure you're eating. You got to come to practice. You got to do your exams. You got to come watch film, study the opponent, watch film on yourself, fix what the mistakes you're making on the field. And then so your days start at 5 and they end at like 9, 10 p.m. And you're doing this for 5 years. That's so much structure right there. So it was effortless for me to carry that discipline into anything I do in life. Because I'm like, if I'm a young man doing this is hard. That broke a lot of guys that I knew. That lifestyle broke a lot of people. Any student athlete watching could relate, or anyone who was a student athlete could relate. So that discipline and knowing that I could go through that, if I apply those same principles and same mindset to anything I set my mind to, there's no reason why I can't accomplish it.
And one of the big things too when you're doing social media is when you're your own boss, you have to also motivate yourself, right? I think when I was in my early stages, you have so much freedom like you do now that if you don't have structure, you could literally sit around and do nothing all day.
Correct.
Right? So you wake up, you got the gym, you got this, you're going to go shoot content, all that stuff. So those early years of that structure, that consistency, when you fell into something that was successful for you, you already had the blueprint. I think that was one of the things that I had to pivot and learn from was when I started to build myself, it was like, oh shit, like if I wanted to, I could sit here all day and do absolutely nothing and be productive, no production whatsoever. So I think that was one of the things you touched on is your early years of college built that structure for you. So now when you're your own boss, you're doing these modeling things, you know how to wake up and be disciplined. You don't have to worry about, other circumstances that would distract you or, put you in positions where you can't keep growing for yourself.
Exactly, because it's like, it's crazy because I always apply those principles to anything that I was told to me by coaches or my football experience, because it's like when we play football, or something the coaches say is like, it ain't about what you do when I'm looking. It's about what you do when no one's watching, right?
100%.
The work you put in when no one's watching. Are you going to go to the field and practice on your cut? Are you going to practice on breaking down and making sure you don't get juked out? Or are you going to hit the bag and really work on your technique, getting off a block, making that tackle? Are you going to really go work out when I'm not telling you to work out? Would you still go work out if I don't tell you to? Will you still go out with teammates? I was the annoying guy in college where I'm like, hey, y'all boys, let's go work out and train. They're like, bruh, come on, Lulu. I'm like, all right. Don't be coming to me when y'all don't know the plays and y'all making mistakes and, and do not, you getting ran over. And a couple guys were like, damn, like, who am I to say no? If Lulu out there doing it, let me just go with Lulu and work out with him. So me and my teammates used to go in the field, and I was doing like, I don't care if it was just me and one guy or me and 5 guys. Whoever came. And those guys that came, I got more respect for them. And that's how I earned the respect from all my teammates. You didn't have to like me. A lot of people on my team didn't really like me because I was so hardcore and I always held people accountable. Even though I took all the blame because I just didn't care. I'm like, hey, point the finger at me if things go wrong because, I got your back. No worries. But you did not have to like me to respect me and still be like, good shit out there, Lulu. You cannot like me as a person. Maybe whatever the reason might be, you still respect me because if I play, I earned it. If I knew what I was doing, I studied. If I'm out there making plays, because I was putting that work in, I knew, okay, the receiver motions this way, he comes back. This guy's, okay, the left guard has a habit of leaning back too much when he's about to pull. So those principles of what are you doing when no one's watching, or never be too complacent, never get too comfortable because someone else is coming to take your spot. That competitive mindset from the athletic background, specifically being a football player, it stays with me to this day in everything, right? Like in social media, it's like, okay, you're working with a brand. How many other people are working with that brand? In my mindset, I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful. I'm very grateful to work with any brand, especially when I love the brand, love the culture, what they got going on, and it applies to my life perfectly. But I see these other people working with their brand too. I want to be putting out the best content. Like the competitive kicks in again. I want to be the best, not for them, for me, because I just want to I'm just like that. I have that competitive mindset, that competitive nature, to where like if I do TikTok live streaming as well. So I stream on TikTok, and I'm like, I want to be the best streamer. Whatever the best streamer is to you, that's between you and you. Mm-hmm. There's no real statistics or outcome that can determine the best, right? There's no such thing as the best. It's our perception of success is what we consider, oh, he's the best, they're the best. It's all opinionated, right? But I want to be the best in anything that I do. TikTok live streaming, any live streaming, this podcast. When I go in the weight room, I want to work out better today than I did last week or yesterday. If I work with a brand, I want to be the best content creator they have. I want to produce the best workout videos or brand deal videos, whatever it is. I want to produce the best cinematic picture so they could have, and like, wow, this guy really took the time and put in that work to make something special. So from then to now and the future to come, anything that I set out my mind to, I want to be the best at. Right.
Now, when you were at your lowest, what was one things that was pushing you to continue to say, I know I'm destined for more than where I'm at, right? Because it's hard when you're in those lows to not just want to fold. What was one of the big things that stuck out to you that continued to push you forward?
My mother's belief in me. No matter what I did and all the times I raised that lady's blood pressure, she always stuck by me and believed. Anytime I told my mom I wanted to do something, go for it, right? My mom, she's a preschool teacher. She's a very modest, humble lady, doesn't really do much, never really experienced much in her life. She had some kids early. I was her last child, and she just believes in me so much. And I'm like, that conversation that we talked about earlier, when she told me that, when I was sitting in her kitchen frustrated, it always resides, that it always replays in my mind, because I always like to think, but I don't like to overthink, because whenever you overthink something, you end up not doing anything, because you sit there thinking so long and so much, and you get in your head and you start talking yourself out the situation because you're just overthinking.
Yeah.
Because you're a thinker, right? So thinkers, some of the time, if you can't balance doing something, thinkers just become thinkers and they don't become doers because they think themselves out of taking action of doing something. So my mother's belief in me of just like, do it. I'm like, let's get it. I'm going to do it. And if I do something, I'm going to get something, whether it's a good result or a consequence, like a consequence. If I do it, I'm going to get something. If I do nothing, I will get nothing. But think and be like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Mm-hmm. And then the regret starts kicking in. So my mother's belief in me and my belief in myself combined is what always keeps me going. Whenever I get a little discouraged or I get in my head, I always got to pick myself up. Sometimes, like, I'm a little crazy. Sometimes I'll grab my own chin and pick my head up. Like, sometimes I do that stuff. It's like, I got me, and there's people out there that believe in me. So it gives me that chip on my shoulder to just keep on going no matter what it is.
So before we close out, I want to ask you one question that you can tell to the viewers. People that are in that same position where they're in homes where, it's destined for them to fail. They're in those, what's one piece of advice that you would give to people that were in a lot of similar situations like you?
One thing I would say is to believe in yourself and always keep an open mind. Because what it is sometimes when someone is a product of their environment for so long, all they know is what they know. It's what they've been exposed to. So I would literally say read books, watch content, see what's out there. Even if you want to take a drive 3 hours away from your home city, enlighten yourself. Because I was a victim of that in my early childhood. All I knew was Florida City. all I knew was like fighting, playing football. This is the little square I lived in. It wasn't until I got on that plane and started my college journey where I got enlightened a little bit, and I started taking risks, and I had to make these decisions. What school am I going to go to? Am I going to go to class today? Am I going to do this? Am I going to meet these people? What would happen if I do this? What would happen if I do that? So just enlightening yourself, believing in what you're doing. Trust your gut. If you have a dream, go for it. If you have an image in your head, your imagination is extremely powerful, because if you can see it, that's a sign that it's possible to try to achieve it. Because if you can't see it in your imagination, then it's just not going to, it won't prosper. So if I could see myself being on the big screen, being on a TV show, being in a movie, whatever, subconsciously, I'm going to start doing things differently. I'm going to move differently. If I keep believing in that, in my imagination, if I keep believing in my dream, I'm going to start doing things. Now, if you believe or you think about it and you do nothing, you're going to get nothing. But just no matter what situation you come in from, no matter where you grow up, whether it's the most rinky-dinky boondock little city, if you grew up in New York City, LA, Miami, and some forest in Alabama, no matter where you're from, enlighten yourself, believe in your dream. Don't let too many people influence you negatively, because the thing is, a lot of people get talked out of something, and you can't let other people's failures dictate your next move, or maybe they're thinking too small. Life is too short to think small, man. Life is way too short to think small. Always think big and pull the trigger and take action. And that's my advice to anyone, no matter where you're from. Believe in yourself, have faith, take action. So at least you can say, I tried. I want to do it, I'm going to do it. Because you said that you think time going to go by, you can't get that time back. Time only moves forward. And you can't get it back.
Yeah, facts. Well, you've inspired me today, bro. I love hearing your story.
Thank you.
And I appreciate you coming on here and sharing it. I think it's an impactful story. It was giving me goosebumps a lot of the times. And I got to learn more about you today. You know, you're soft-spoken, but you're an intelligent motherfucker.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah. So I appreciate you getting on today. Hopefully we'll have you on again. Maybe I get him to move to Vegas.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, man. I love Vegas, man. So I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
And you know, I'm very selective about who I give my energy to, and I know we've shared conversation about that. And you know, I've only shared little conversations with you here and there, but you're one of the dudes that I would fuck with, because you have that energy about you, bro. And I respect you. I have a ton more respect for you just hearing this podcast. So again, man, thank you for being on. I appreciate you.
Hey, I appreciate you for having me and allowing me to experience my first podcast with a friend. So thank you.
Absolutely, bro. So make sure you guys check us out on YouTube, tellnolies.com. You can find us on Instagram as well, at Tell No Lies Podcast. What's your Instagram? Lulu_exit?
No, so it's Lulu Exit 1.
Close. I was close.
Close.
Make sure you check them out, Lulu Exit 1. Thank you again for coming on, bro. Until next week, we'll see you guys. Peace.
Thank you.